Hi, I'm Donnie Wood with DRILLMAX. I want to take a little bit of time and walk around the DM450 with you. Starting right here behind the cab is our hydraulic oil reservoir. Up on top of that, we have our fill spout and also our return filters up on top. And we have cleanouts located on both sides, so when you drain the oil, you can remove these covers and be able to wipe the inside of it out. Right here by the hydraulic tank is our two front jacks. Both of these are 36-inch stroke. Right on the front corner of the rig is the Air Compressor. This is a 500 CFM, 200 PSI. This is the only air option we offer on the DM450. It has two unloaders, one for low pressure and one for high pressure, going up to a maximum of 200 PSI. Located right behind the compressor is our hammer lubricator. This lubricator is designed by our own engineers. This lubricator holds 10 gallons of oil. Right here in about mid-frame, we have a step that's very easy to pull out. So you can store this away going down the road, or you can be able to fold it out and be able to easily get up on your deck. And right here on the lubricator is a handle that you can pull yourself up on. This is the first time this has been done on our DM450. We mounted a Mudslayer 250 on this unit. A lot of advantages to having this on the unit. We're able to use our rig hydraulics to run this. We have plenty of deck space to mount this. So when you mount this on the rig, you're able to save fuel of your extra engine that you normally would have running a Mudslayer system. Coming out the bottom of the Mudslayer goes directly to the suction line of our centrifugal pump. Stores very, very nice, very neatly going down the road, easy to hook up to when you get to the job. Coming out of the top of the centrifugal is our discharge plumbing. All of our plumbing is 3-inch, going all the way to the top head spindle. You can see here on our plumbing, we have our mixing valve that has a handle on it. We have our main mud handle, and then we have our air compressor valve over there. You'll be able to see these better when we get back to the control panel, but all of these are easily reached for the operator. Back at the control panel here on the top left, we have an auxiliary circuit. This circuit here, we have some quick connects over by the helper side where you're able to plug in an extra circuit. In this particular case, we use this hydraulics to operate the lift pump for our Mudslayer. So it's just simple, it's on off, and then this is your variable speed control for it. Next to this is our engine gauge. We're able to read all of the measurements on our engine, RPMs, temperature, pressure. We're also able to look at some of the electronic setups that we have for items such as our lift pump circuit and also our air compressor circuit. We have a nice cluster of gauges on top of the control panel. The first one reads your air pressure gauge. Next system reads your winch pressure gauge, which is the entire bottom valve bank. We have holdback and pull down pressure, and then last we have our rotation pressure gauge at the end. Down here at the end is our mast lights for working at nighttime. Up here now you can see a better shot of the valves that we have. This is our mud mix valve, our main mud valve, our air compressor valve, and then we have a dump valve for the air compressor that you can release your air. These are all clearly labeled so that your operator will know if they're on or off. Coming down a little bit is our mud pump volume control. Just like the 250, it's variable volume by how far you stroke the pump. Right here next to this is our pull down pressure and our hold back pressure gauges. So the pull down pressure is by a lever, and our hold back is a knob that you can twist in and out. Our air compressor is on a separate circuit from the mud pump, so you can run them both at the same time. To operate the compressor, it's just a simple toggle switch on, and then you're able to control your volume by the switch. Here's the high-low switch for the compressor, so you can either run it in low pressure or high pressure. And the top valve bank is our setup feature. So your first four are going to be your leveling jacks, your mass fold, and then your regular feed, which this valve will be detented. All of these are controlled by the pull down pressure valve over here. So if there's no pressure on this valve, this circuit will not work. Next is our rotation. Just like the mud pump, variable volume based on how far you stroke the lever. Has a nice button that releases whenever you get into neutral. Come back to the center here in our table assembly that you'll see here soon. We have an air operated fork that comes out and holds the pipe. So this is the air switch that controls that fork. Now we have some switches. So for a rod spinner works in two directions. So you can either spin rods together or you can spin rods apart. The winch on the DM450 is a 2-speed motor. So we have a high speed and a low speed. So when you're in low speed, you get the max pulling power of 12,000 pounds. And when you turn it to high speed, you double the speed, but you also cut the power in half. Top head on the 450 also is a dual motor. So same thing as your winch, you have a high speed and a low speed. Easily turns by changing your switch. The hammer lubricator you saw right there by the compressor simply just works by turning this switch on. Right next to it is our water injection pump. This is the on-off for the water injection, and then right below it is the flow control. Down on the bottom left are your E-stops that will kill the engine, the throttle control, and then the very bottom is our bottom valve bank. So this is where your breakout wrench, your spinner, your table retract, your jibs, and your winches are. So the way the hydraulics are set up on the 450 is all of these functions have their own hydraulics. Your mud pump has its own hydraulics, your air has its own hydraulics, the top valve bank has its own pump, the bottom valve bank has its own pump, rotation has its own pump, and so does the hydraulic oil cooler and the water injection. So we're able to run all of these functions all at one time. We do not lose any oil when we're pulling all these functions. Down on the bottom side of the control panel, which you'll see here in a second, is these are our new carousel hydraulics. So a new feature for the DM450 is the carousel. You can actually slide this top head both directions. So for the carousel to operate, your top head will slide off to the right over towards the carousel. To set casing, you can use your top head to slide left to clear center of hole. This is the rotation valve for the motor on the carousel. And we have a breakout fork assembly up on the top that holds the rods in position. So this air switch controls that air fork up at the top of the carousel. Some of our units have helper side controls that operate the winch and the jib, and this is the switch that turns the power on for those helpers controls. You can see here as we come to the center, our dual motor pipe spinner system. This spinner system works really good. It's been fine-tuned. Engineers have put a lot of time into the spinner system. Again, you can spin rods together or spin them apart with this, but these two arms will clamp together, come to the center on your drill pipe, and the wheels will spin the rods together or apart. Table assembly is very user-friendly. You can see here how far out the center line of the table is from the back end of the rig. When you get done drilling, this lets your operator and your helper just have the casing set right there next to them. Very easy to use, especially guys that are using steel casing that have to weld. You're able to just sit right on the platforms and weld the casing in a nice, comfortable position. A lot of other rigs, your table's going to be back in the center of the mast, and very hard to get underneath the rig to handle that steel casing. Our table opening, just by removing these slips, you're able to set 10-inch casing. If you retract this table all the way back, and you have hinge points on both sides of the table, we're able to set 16-inch casing. Our hydraulic breakout wrench is heavy duty. It's a 48-inch hook jaw. We have a handle on the end of it. This is very easy for the operator to control. Easy to hold this handle and run the control from the control panel. The carousel is the new option. This carousel holds 12 3.5-inch rods with 2 3/8 IF tool joints. When you get the carousel, with the 240 feet in the carousel, 300 feet will fit in the pipe rack. So that's a total of 540 feet that you're able to carry on this machine when using 3.5-inch drill stem. Over here at the helper station are the 3 spool controls that we talked about just a minute ago. These 3 controls operate your jib swing, your jib extend, and the main winch. Also right here at the helper station, we have a little toolbox that you can put little hammers in or your thread grease. We have a tool tray, and then we have nice sized platforms and steps so your helper can reach the rod rack. Also, another feature on this carousel is it has a back feed. So with the back feed, you would use this switch to open and close that gate up there. You'll use the winch and the jib system to load those rods on the back side of the carousel. These are the quick connects we talked about over there from the control panel. As you can see here, we have our lift pump set right here, so we will actually be plugging these hydraulic hoses into the quick connects when we're using the lift pump to drill mud. We have a toolbox located right here on the back side. Nice sized toolbox for little tools and odds and ends that you may need at the job site. We have a storage tray located right here below the pipe rack that holds the center section for your driller stands. And then we have a heavy duty 60-inch toolbox right here underneath the pipe rack that all the other stuff, your bits, your subs, anything like that that's heavy that you need to store away is easily put in the 60-inch toolbox. You can see right here on the bottom part of the mast are our 2 winches. The bottom winch is our main winch, which is the 12,000-pound winch that has the 2-speed motor on it. Located just above that is the sandline winch. That's an 1,800-pound winch that holds up to 725 feet of cable for the deeper geothermal or cathodic protection holes. As you go all the way up to the top of the mast, you'll be able to see our dual jib system. Both of our jibs swing and extend so your cables can get out of the way and be free of the driller and the helper while they're running the machine. The DM450 is supportable from all 3 of our service locations: Salina, Kansas, Ocala, Florida, and our newest location in Oxford, Pennsylvania. Thank you for looking at the DM450 today. For more information or questions, please call us at 352-854-1566 or visit the website, DRILLMAXRigs.com.